Alrighty. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have roll call. Ms. Martinez?
All counselors present with Counselor V. Hill running late for the meeting, but he'll be here.
Okay, thank you. Up next, we have the agenda approval, but I know Ms. Brooks have something she would like to say.
Thank you, Mayor. The rec board's leadership had some conflicts from a scheduling perspective, so we are going to move that to a future meeting. So you will not be getting an update from the rec board tonight.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Griego?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please start voting.
The
Ms. Martin?
motion carried unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Up next, we have citizen comments. This is the segment of the agenda to where we ask citizens who have comments to come up to the podium. We ask that you keep your comments to within 3 minutes. If you're still talking at the 3-minute mark, I will politely ask you to end your comments at that time. We're going to start off before we go to the live Zoom. We'll go with our attendee here tonight, Aaron Bittenberger.
I think there was some confusion on when agenda items were coming up, and so some of the agenda items are in March. So is that correct? Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you. So we'll go ahead and go to Zoom to see if we have anyone on Zoom. Ms. Martinez, if you can give instruction to the Zoom participants who would like to speak at this time, how to raise their hand to be recognized.
Yes, sir. If you're on the Zoom app and you want to speak, you'll use the raise your hand feature in the bottom of the screen. If you're on a telephone, it'll be *9.
Okay, I don't see any hands raised.
I do not either, Mayor.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and close the citizen comment segment and go to consent calendar A. Councilor Griego,
I'll make a motion to approve consent calendar as presented.
I will second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, let's please start voting. Ms. Martinez?
The motion carried unanimously.
Awesome. Up next, we have regular business. We're going to go down to business brought forward by the city staff. First reading of ordinance number 2-2023, an ordinance establishing an intergovernmental agreement, IGA, with the Colorado Department of Transportation, CDOT, for revitalized Main Street grant for Hunt Avenue Cultural Trail.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. I am here for the first reading of an intergovernmental agreement with the Colorado Department of Transportation. This is for the $1.2 million grant that the city received to build our Hunt Avenue Cultural Trail, which is a pedestrian thoroughfare between 3rd Street and 6th Street in our downtown corridor. It was one of the 5 catalytic projects in our downtown plan. And we are building it with all grant funds and no local match. Pedestrian improvements and lighting, new road and all the new sewer, all the exciting things, but then also interactive pedestrian elements like art and landscaping and things that can draw all of our residents from our park downtown into our downtown, and people drive their cars less and we'll have more parking, and it's a great way to attract some of our tourists from our main park to our downtown businesses. And so it is a very thorough IGA. I think it's 130 some pages, which I just want you to know that CDOT is a very serious organization. But the city attorney has reviewed it thoroughly. I think it took 3.5 months. No, just kidding. No, it's a very dense document, but it's going to be a great project. We've already done our initial scoping meetings with CDOT. I think it's going to be a very successful partnership, but we need to enter into a formal IGA with them. And that is what I'm here to request.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Daniel?
If there's no further comments, I move that we approve upon first reading ordinance number 2-2023 and set it for a public hearing on March 1st at 7 PM or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard.
I'll second.
Good, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Okay, if not, please start voting. Ms. Martinez,
The motion carried unanimously.
thank you so very much. Appreciate all the effort.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, that brings us to the next item, Human Resources Risk Management. Public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 1-2023, an ordinance amending the established pay plan for the city officers and employees.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance does two different items. The first one is a bit of housekeeping where we realized that the recreation specialist got somehow left out of the pay plan, so it places it at the appropriate location, as well as our utilities operator and utilities operator crew leader got a little bit wonky in the new pay plan as well, so this aligns them where they need it to be. So those are the housekeeping items. The more substantial is the creation of a new position called Construction Project Manager based on some research for the local market as well as through the Colorado Municipal League. We have decided to place that in grade K. And as shared in the work session, we reviewed what the impact is on the general fund and the enterprise fund. It will be funded 80% out of the enterprise fund, 20% out of the general fund. And the minimum starting pay for grade K is $58,386. But with the growing dramatic trend in CIP projects coupled with grant projections, as well as realizing some of the projects that council's identified as a priority for the community, this is really going to allow us to make sure that they're done in a quality way, that we're meeting standards, and that we're not dropping any balls. And with that, I'll turn it over for council for the public hearing.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Brooks. So at this time, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing for ordinance number 1-2023, an ordinance amending the established pay plan for city officers and employees. If we have anyone out in the audience who would like to make any comments in regards to this ordinance, please feel free to come up to the podium and state your comments. Okay, I don't see anyone in the audience, so we'll go ahead and go to Zoom. And we'll ask any participants who are on Zoom who would like to participate in this ordinance. Please raise your hand by pushing on the raise your hand feature on your screen so that we can recognize you. Ms. Martinez, I don't see any hands raised. Do you?
I don't see any either, Mayor.
Okay, so I am now going to close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Counselor Daniel?
Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance number 1-2023, amending the established pay plan.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Nope. If not, please start voting. Ms. Martinez?
The motion carried unanimously.
Okay. All right, that brings us down to committee reports. Do we have any council members with committee reports? Counselor Daniel and Counselor Cripps.
Thank you, Mayor. I did attend the Alamosa Housing Authority meeting and the Homeless Coalition meetings this past month. Really exciting things going on in housing in our community. We all know that. We've had all of those updates, so I'm not going to revisit all of the updates. But I do think the Housing Authority is also really looking at with some of the changes in their like maintenance department, different things. They're just really working to make sure their tenants' voices are heard, trying to figure out how to engage them more effectively in the process and having really great conversations at that board level. And with the Homeless Coalition, we got a great update from Heather about all of the projects that are happening, and that committee got to ask a lot of good questions about what was moving forward. And they are super engaged in really helping work toward the place for the new soup kitchen and things like that. So I think lots of really cool things happening in both of those committees.
Thank you, Counselor Daniel. Counselor Krebs?
Thank you, Mayor. Last month already, I attended not one, but two library board meetings. The first one was a workshop to assist Maria, the library manager, in developing surveys to give out to the public of, and what we initially have come up with, it's still in the developing stages, is to take the survey questions we had gone over and basically split them in two and have a survey for non-users of the library to explain, why they don't use it and what they would like to see. And then a different survey for people that actually use the library to see what programs work best and what draws them to the library. So we figured that would be the best way to get a broader sense of how people view the library. On January 24th, I also attended a presentation that Maria put together. She invited the library board and the Friends of the Library to a presentation on advocacy that was given by Chelsea Coleman of the Colorado Library Consortium. And it was very interesting. And she ran us through some exercises to teach us to be our own best cheerleader when it comes to events in the library and things like that. So I really enjoyed the efforts that Maria has put into the library this last month. And I look forward to using the skills that was shown me, not just for the library, but for the city and other projects in general.
Thank you, Counselor Krebs. Appreciate that. Any other committee reports? All right, so we're moving on down to staff announcements.
Well, we are getting a trophy, which at some future meeting, we will be presenting to City Council. I did correct the math in the spreadsheet that was brought to my attention, as well as adjust a little bit on the disc golf scoring as well, to make sure we're being fair. But council did beat staff by 6 points. So congratulations.
Thank you. Way to go, Council.
I also want to congratulate staff though. We had a great showing. We just didn't show up to every event and the 2-to-1 ratio that we needed to. So even though we had 5 do the Rio Frio, you guys had 3. So we were 1 short on that, or those types of things. But it was a really great showing from staff as well, especially on the polar plunge. So I gotta give them kudos for that. We had some surprise plungers is all I will say. So,
That's right.
but congratulations, well earned. Counselor Grego was sending me pictures throughout the day to make sure I knew what he was doing and getting all the points that he could. So it was a fun time. It was a fun time. So congratulations. And congratulations to Andy and his team. That was just quite the event, pulled off amazingly. Hopefully they're starting to recuperate, so.
Okay. All right, I'll save my comments for when we get to the very end, but thank you, Ms. Brooks. Okay. That brings us up to the local liquor licensing authority action. Mr. Sweezow, if you can tell us the options.
Sure, thank you, Mayor.
Well,
What you've got before you is an application for transfer of a liquor license out at the golf course, Knee Knockers Bar and Grill. And the reason it's before you is you have delegated the city clerk to do the investigation that's required for such a transfer. And her investigation turned up some things in the background of one of the owners of Cuates LLC, Eddie Valdez, that are worthy of consideration. It doesn't mean that they are problems, but they're things that you need to be aware of and make a determination as to whether you want to investigate further. And those were in the materials. My recollection is there's some disorderly conduct and one or maybe two DUIs, but all from 20+ years ago. So it's not staff's role to make a call as to whether that rises to the level of wanting to inquire. It's your call. So you have an initial step is, do you care? Based on that investigatory record. And if you do care, then you need to open a public hearing, and Mr. Valdez is here. You can hear from him. If you don't care, if you don't think that triggers any concern, then you don't even need to open a public hearing. So it's a two-step process. One, do you need a hearing? And then two, if you do, conduct one.
And do you need a consensus on us on the hearing part, or just want us to come to a term agreement of?
I think it would be cleanest if you, you can either vote to approve the transfer. You all have that background in front of you. So if someone could make a motion to approve the transfer, if that fails, presumably the reason it fails is that you want a hearing, or you could just do a motion well, I think that's the cleanest. Do a motion to approve the transfer without a hearing, see if that passes.
Okay,
Unless nobody wants to do that, in which case
But you can have conversation beforehand.
you certainly can have conversation before.
yeah, I think Council Grego has a.
Yeah. I was gonna make a motion, but I have some conversation. I've happened to know the Valdez family for a lot of years, and I've known Eddie. She's very, very young, and I think that in life, including myself, you go through a period of time where you're trying to, I don't know, figure yourself out, but I've known him now, the type of person he is, the dedication, not only to whatever he's involved with, but his family is just, you know, I can't say he's done everything very positive, and like I said, after I read that, I kind of like stunned me. I said, well, these are two different guys, two different people. You know, and from what I know him today, he's a very outstanding person. So that's the comments I got.
Okay. Thank you, Council Griego. Council Carson, then we'll start with, I didn't see who turned the lights on. We'll go with Councilor Daniel, then Councilor Vio. I mean, Councilor Hensley and Councilor Vio, sorry.
I was just gonna make a motion to approve the transfer. I think we should just,
Okay, I think a couple of them want to say some words and then we'll.
yeah, that was my position. I was gonna make a motion, so.
Okay.
That's right.
I'm gonna second it and add, there's a question in the communique. Considering whether the applicant is of good moral character, in my opinion, Eddie is in very high moral character. He's been a great person to me and my family for years, and that stuff happened a long time ago. So, and I know he's ready to roll with this. So I second that motion.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a chance. We have
I
a-
just support all of that, so we're good.
Okay, because I want to make sure we stay in order. So we have a motion, we have a second. So now we have open for additional comments. Does anyone have any additional comments? Okay, if not, let's go ahead and start voting. Ms. Martinez?
The motion carried unanimously.
All right, good deal. Thank you, council. All right, brings us down to the next item on the agenda. Before we go into executive session, council comments. Does anyone have any council comments? Turn on your mic so I can recognize. Council Grego?
I do.
Thank you.
Last week, I attended the 2023 Colorado Water Congress Annual Convention. It's a convention that focuses on policy, and you have a lot of water people that get together there. And when I was sitting in the audience, I looked up and there's our mayor. I want to give thanks to our mayor. He got up there and he talked about municipal water conservation policies. He was up there with Mayor Kaufman from Aurora, Mayor Arnett from Fort Collins, and Mayor Stout from Grand Junction. And they gave him all these different questions, and we had a couple of mayors in it that, you know, once you become involved with a lot in politics, you keep talking and talking and really don't answer the question. But he did a great job. He represented us great. And afterwards, I saw where people are just kept on going over to him and asking him questions about different stuff, so. That goes to tell us that we stick out there. And there was a lot of water leaders there, so I want to thank you, Mayor, and the council that were there, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Council Grego. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Councilor Daniel?
Thank you, Mayor. I know you're gonna talk about the Rio Frio, so I won't talk about it a lot, but it was wonderful. The team did a great job. Everything looked great, downtown. I really appreciated all the work out at the pond and everything just went really smoothly. The big thing, and I know we talk about this a lot, and I've been in a lot of committees. I really feel like in Alamosa and in the San Luis Valley in general, we don't realize how much we work together on all of the projects and how kind of rare that is. And I just want to say, like, I'm amazed every time I come to a meeting about all of the work on housing that's being done. I'm amazed every time I come to a meeting how we're moving forward with the co-responder and how all of those things are going well and how we're doing all of these neat things that when I am involved in other communities or other boards that I am in the state and things like that, that other people don't have these conversations that we have. And I just, like, I think our staff for our team, like, it takes bravery to do that, to put yourself out there and to learn all of these things, but it also takes a flexibility of willingness and mindset to be able to change the way we were doing things. And so I just really want to say thank you. I think that it goes from all of our departments all the way through the upper levels of leadership that we do things that other communities don't do. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Daniel. Councilor Cripps?
Thank you, Mayor. And again, I won't go too much into the Rio Frio. But this was my first time participating as a city council person. And so I saw it from a different perspective this year. Before I would go down and I would walk around and I would watch some things and not participate in a whole lot, but to be able to have the knowledge of how much work went into it, I was able to appreciate every detail of it that much more, from the 5K itself, just setting up downtown and getting everything ready. I was able to appreciate it, and I was able to also look around and see the other people that appreciated it as well. So I just wanted to share that perspective with you. You guys killed it, and thank you so much, and for letting me be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cripps. Do we have anyone else on here before we wrap it up? Okay, well, I'll wrap it up here. As Councilor Grego mentioned, he and I both were at the Colorado Water Congress meeting last week. And Councilor Grego, it was just a pleasure to see him out in the audience. He's been on there at least, 8 years now, Councilor Grego, being a voice for the San Luis Valley. And he was a sure anchor of support for me while I was on the panel. I could see him and I just kept focusing on him and he kept giving me the nod like that. And that really gave me some encouragement to do what I was doing. So I really appreciate that. But I would be remiss if I didn't thank the team here who helped Rachel, Councilor Suizo, Ms. Brooke, and Deacon. They actually gave me the talking points so that it could at least look like I knew what I was talking about. And so I studied them thoroughly so that I could actually present the issues that we have. And thank you, Councilor Grego, for that. The other thing is I want to thank the entire team, the entire council as a team, and the city staff for the great participation that we had this weekend in the the Rio Frio activities, and everyone who showed up for all the activities. Chief Stone, this guy here is something, man. He did a body tummy dive into the water. I mean, I've never seen anybody do that before. That was something. And Ms. Brooks was walking on water. I saw Councilor Suizo, Jolene, and other people. And our own Kathy Woods participated in the polar plunge. So I just want to thank everybody. You know, usually I talk a lot of smack, but I'm not going to talk a lot of smack tonight because it's not about me, it's about us. It's about the whole team, and everybody really participated. And it looks like we had some form of participation from either staff or either council at the majority of the activities that were there. And so thank you all for that. We really appreciate it. And just one more thing, I just have to hold this up for Counselor Krebs. She actually helped us to win, well, we shared first place in the air band contest, and this was the prize. And we'll leave this here in our council's office right there for proof in the future. All right.
So
Now-
Mayor,
Mhm.
when you're done, I do have one quick comment.
Okay, sure. And then I'll wrap it up. So this is how huge this event has gotten. When I was walking around the park and different things, people kept, pulling me to the side. There was this, when we did our 5K walk, there was this lady, she said, "Hey, I heard you're the mayor." I said, "Yes." She says, "My two sons and I, we come here from Canyon every year and we make a big thing about it. We spend the night just to come and celebrate in the festivities." And I was like, "Wow, that's cool." And I told Heather, because we were walking together. And then later on during the day, I'm downtown, a lady walks up to me and she says, because I'm wearing this outfit, okay? So it's kind of obvious. So she says, "Hey, you must be the mayor guy." I say, yes, I am." She says, "Well, I come here every year all the way from Golden, Colorado to participate in this event." And I was really blown away. And then another lady walked up to me. This was the lady who went on Andy the bike tour. She's one of our funders. And I forgot her name right now, but she's one of the funders that help fund some of the park activities and rec activities. She came up and she had a lot of great things to say about our city as a whole. So I just want to just let everyone know it's the little things that each one of you do in our community that ends up making a huge difference. So thank you so very much. And Ms. Brooks, I'll turn it over to you.
So I'll save you that experience that you had at the Water Congress of being there and seeing Ty up on stage as a surprise. We received an invitation today from the Colorado Municipal League to have Rachel sit on that housing when we're up there for the legislative update later in February. So when you look up on stage, you'll see one of our own up there on the panel to discuss housing.
That is awesome. Thank you. And Rachel, I know you're going to represent. Good deal. All right. So that's all the comments I have for tonight. So we'll go ahead and we're going to accept a motion from someone about the executive session. Okay, Counselor Daniel?
Mayor, I move that we go into executive session pursuant to CRS 246402-4B to receive legal advice from the city attorney concerning House Bill 21-1110, access to information by persons with disabilities.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Okay. We can start voting. Ms. Martinez?
The motion carried unanimously.
Okay. And when we exit out of executive session, no further business will be discussed.